All right. Well, we're
Right.
on to the La Caída.
Now, this was
Yes.
fun, huh?
I
I
don't
want to.
know.
I
Was
want
it?
to. I just want to start
I
initially.
recognized when they got to Guadalajara.
Well,
I-
that's good.
Yeah, you did.
I want to start with the title. I think it's really weird that this is called La Caída in Spanish and it's just called Dive in English.
What's La Caída?
It means the dive. Like there's a definite article there, and I think that as a title makes a difference.
It's better.
Yeah, like
It's a better title.
and if you think about it in terms of what this movie is, it is the dive that she takes into the past.
Mhm.
You know, like just calling it Dive makes it seem like it's a movie about diving instead of what it's actually about, which is the horrifying abuse suffered by children in large sports programs.
But it's also another level about the dive in terms of getting the dive perfect and working on the dive.
Right, sure.
Tandem diving, which is like it's
Although there's very
But they
little
don't
of that in this
spend
movie.
enough. They don't spend as much
Right.
time on that.
Yeah.
Right, because it's not about that.
No,
Like,
it's not. No, it's not really about that. But that's what they're working on.
I do like that.
In the late,
That's the
there's
goal.
there's a training montage very late in the film, which I was surprised that it wasn't long, but it was there.
Which is
And it
more of
was-
a bonding montage between the two of them before she makes her pitch.
Correct.
Because there's the point where right behind Chris where she goes, "No, you lead this time,"
Yeah.
and she brightens up when she gets to lead. Yeah,
Boy,
the acting in this movie was good.
yeah, the performances
Holy shit!
Down the
really
left.
solid.
Except for the 14-year-old girl was not particularly good.
I know. I thought she was
And-
very
What?
14. I
Yeah,
thought she was
I
very
didn't think
14
she
years
was-
old.
She
You know
never
what I mean?
felt authentic to me.
It
I
all
think
fit
that
together.
was
It all fit together for me. I thought she was fine.
And this director does a lot of movies about and with young actors, so I think it's her performance. I don't think it's bad direction.
If not for I found this movie really unpleasant.
Weird. I can't believe that.
It's,
Wow.
I mean, I'm almost like the acting's great. I mean, the lead is flipping fantastic.
The acting is amazing.
But
And she's like
the
a
only
she's
thing I could recommend about it because everything else is so repellent. It was so repellent to me.
Mhm.
Like it almost like repellent to the point
No,
where I want to
Kind
turn
of,
it
this is
off.
how I feel like this movie is. If you're going to tackle this
There's
subject,
closure at the end.
this is how the way you should do it.
I don't know.
One thing
just-
I admire.
Because
One thing I
there's so
admire
many-
about
there's
this.
so many- this is such a hot topic right now, but this is the way that you maybe should approach it.
I would agree with that because I thought one of the best things the film did was absolutely not inform the audience what was true. Halfway through the movie, the coach character gives such a passionate performance.
I knew it immediately because he's acting like a fucking abuser from the jump. Like
Yes.
he is literally acting like
Once he lost his temper, but when he was upset and felt was simply saying that he was unjustly accused, I thought either this guy's legitimately been wronged and he had a legitimate reason. The whole justification that was like her mother doesn't want to break up the family, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
That was legitimately believable. His performance was legitimately believable. And I was like, if this guy's lying, he's a really good liar.
the first time
Which
the
is
first
par for
time
the
you're
course.
introduced to him as a real character, you're introduced to him in the kitchen telling her that she's going to have to team up with this other girl,
Yes.
and he dangles her Olympic dreams in front of her
Yep.
and then lashes out at her when she questions it. And then the next scene that you really get with him is the scene where he gives her the necklace, and that is such classic abuser behavior that I was immediately like, no,
Well, that's
this
why-
guy absolutely did it.
That
No,
set
I
off the
think-
alarms
I
for
think
you.
that's what- I think that's why the script is so fucking good, because I think it's both Tad and John, your interpretation of it,
Right.
because it actually works so progressively as this sort of move film.
And to defend my position, yes, he was very intense with her, but the stakes were incredibly high, not only for her, but for him. So to me, it's like they are weeks away from possible Olympic gold. It is her last chance. She's going to be 30 years old. All those things were true.
Yep.
And I felt that was actually what was driving him to some extent.
And can we talk about
However disingenuous all his behavior was, those
talk about
facts are true, and that was a legitimate reason for him to behave that
the
way.
lead actress performance? Oh my God. Can we talk about that? Like,
It's
just
phenomenal.
Isn't she like
Oh,
a soap opera actress too? Like
she's
this was her big sort of like coming out as a real actress, I think.
Jesus Christ, she's amazing.
And she's really good.
He's really good too.
He's really
the
good.
coach's performance is fucking impeccable through this whole movie.
The two
Like-
mothers, they're good too.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. That it takes a while. It takes a while before you figure out, oh, this is actually what the movie's about. Like I kept waiting for the story to kind of tweak in a direction. Like, no, it's
Same
actually
here.
about something bigger. No, it's literally it is about this thing that you are watching.
You don't
And that's
know.
it.
You don't know until way fucking when you're into it.
Three-quarters of
Yeah,
the way
like the
through, like,
third
oh,
act.
this is a sexual harassment movie.
Right.
Right.
When she finds the crop top in the bathroom is
Yeah.
I think
really
I
when
come to the conclusion a little earlier than that.
well no,
Yeah.
but I mean like that is the like this is now the motivation for everything.
Yes.
Like because she finally has the proof, and then she finds the diary after that, you know, and it's just
Right.
like, well, what the fuck do you
She
do
had the
now?
diary
For me,
before-
the viewer, it was when they were on the bus to Guadalajara and the coach was sitting with his arm around the 14-year-old girl. I thought everything he just said is bullshit because of the way he's behaving now. And then it was only further reinforced when he was sitting in the chair with her by the pool, again with his arm around her doing the homework thing. It was like, this is not the way an accused man would behave unless the accusations are true. So we're ahead of her, but like you
Or-
said,
at the
or
hotel.
they're
Well,
wrong.
this
Or they're
scene-
wrong. And also,
Yeah, that behind Tad and also the hotel, all that bullshit at the hotel.
Yeah.
Like
Well,
where
when
he's,
you
like,
see
throwing
her
the
have that
party, she shows
flashback
up,
of
she's
her
like,
throwing up in that same bathroom,
yeah.
and it's just like, oh no, like you know exactly what happened at that point. Like,
It's his
she's
MO.
starting to get it.
Yeah.
You know?
I don't know. It strikes me as I'm surprised you guys are surprised by this particular story because
I wasn't surprised. I was waiting for it to
5
be
minutes in, I knew.
surprising.
I was really happy about
Once you
the way
met the
they
guy
picked it out.
once, you knew the trajectory of the film. It was like there wasn't giving any other way that when the
I didn't
14-year-old
think it
shows
was gonna be
up,
that
and he
simple.
wasn't going to be this person who was the
But
villain. And
when
she
you
was
find
going to
out,
figure it out.
when you find out when you find out that the lead also suffered this, that's a real thing.
But the thing that's just simply motivation. It didn't surprise me at all.
No,
Once you saw him and the 14-year-old, you realized what happened to her.
when
And
the whole thing is about
from it,
this
from,
new
entire film.
little girl
Mhm.
who is being taken under the wing,
groomed.
No,
yes,
it's-
groomed.
It disgusted
And
her.
then-
She wanted to stop it, but it wasn't. I don't think it was.
I've
The
never
only thing
seen
that surprised
I've
me
never-
was the very end of the film. The
I've
very,
never
very
seen
end.
No, but I've never seen a film or heard a story where someone who else was actually that happened to, that just they stayed with it and was okay.
Well,
And
they
then-
do such a good job of selling her at the beginning, defending
Yeah.
him.
Yes,
Like,
exactly.
Oh,
you
yeah, her
buy
defense
But
sounds-
she's totally the
Yes.
victim as well.
right.
She believes that defense in some respects.
No, she's become like
That's why it's so
Stockholm
complex.
syndromed
Yes.
into it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well,
And-
that's a lot. That's the outside pressure because this is again, this kind of diving is a Mexican specialty in the Olympics, and there's like national sort of pressure on these people
Well,
to succeed.
her own mother was
that
not
whole-
on her
that
side. Her
whole
mother
thing-
was on her coach's side.
Her mother and father.
She's all
both of
by
them.
herself. Everybody else wants to push in one direction to get the
Well,
goal,
but except for the 14-year-old's mom, who basically gets chucked under the bus.
more or
Yeah.
less. Yeah.
the
By
mom.
her.
Mhm.
Like,
Yeah.
like she chucks her under the bus. She walks into that apartment, basically talks her out of it,
Yes.
and then
Yeah.
goes
That's right.
and then goes and
That's
stands
why
up for him.
I think the script is so good because it's complex.
Well,
Agreed.
you
And
go-
if you're buying the coach's story at that point, then the 14-year-old's mother is the villain. She's
Right.
ruining everyone's chances at Olympic gold.
Actually, you're right. Right.
and then you watch it back and you're like, oh fuck.
Right.
Like,
Yeah, but no, that's the outside pressure thing. That's not the inside pressure thing. It's like there's two compelling kind of story arcs.
But
One
the
is
fact
the
that
abuse.
okay,
The other one is like
spoiler-
everybody being under pressure to perform. and
It underscores how much pressure both
the thing
those
is,
girls
that
are
means that
under.
person who is
Well, yeah,
actually looking
but-
out for somebody is actually the bad guy because
when you
and,
when you
know,
when you finally find out, spoiler alert, that our main star has actually been the same victim. I
I
mean,
mean, it's the same
it's done.
story.
It's done.
Yeah.
When if you go and you read about the real stories like this, you read about Michigan
This is based
State.
on a true story, right?
This was a true story. Yeah.
It's partially based on a true story.
Well,
yes.
yeah, it's inspired to say by true.
But if you go look at Michigan State, you go look at Ohio State, Penn State, the three big ones in this country that have come out over the last couple of years, you have this same thing of people who were part of that abuse cycle who are still involved and start talking other people out of reporting it. Like, because they're so fucked up by this system that they've been part of for so long, and in some situations even participate in the abuse themselves,
Right.
which is even more fucked up.
Which
Like,
is why do people do this? The outside
Because
pressure.
sports are dumb.
Because sports
Well,
are everything, and everything is sports, and the outside
Thank you,
pressure
Chris.
is.
I don't think that's
Pulls
this one,
people
but
up.
this, close.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
well, the
But this- I
deference,
think
the
it's more
deference we
about,
give to
like,
these
I think
people
it's
is
more
definitely
about this
dumb.
is more about a woman realizing what happened to her, and then
well, I think she always knew. In fact, they made points of pointing out how screwed up she was from it. I think kind of weird. Some of the
But that's not the same thing as always knowing.
Yeah,
Like
true.
Yeah.
that is another
No,
thing.
she
That is
was
another thing. Is she is
promiscuous.
acting. She's
She's
acting
always
like a
fucking
victim through
people
the
and
whole movie.
promiscuous because she's getting a UTI all the time.
Yeah. Well, she's coming out of it. I think she might be coming out of some
Well,
sort of,
and her weird relationship with the druggist.
yeah.
Yeah.
She's coming out of deep
Yeah.
denial. I'll give you that, because again, when you're focused on sports, you don't think about these things. And maybe she's that 14-year-old showing up brought her out of her deep denial, and that's what the story is about as well.
Exactly.
the
She
part-
had buried it. She didn't forget it, but she had buried
But
it.
it affected her. It affected
Yeah.
her. You can tell it really messed up her personality.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
The part where she's having sex with the assistant coach
Mhm.
and he leaves and she presses herself up against the jet, and then when you see her starting to remember, there's the scene where he's got his legs over her shoulders and is holding her up against the jet.
That's
It's
right.
just like, oh fuck.
That's where it is.
Like,
Nobody's mentioned it. I thought the cinematography in this movie was extremely good.
yes.
I
It's a
thought
gorgeous
the
movie.
diving scenes and the stuff in the pool was really well done.
It's
And
a
even the
gorgeous,
stuff not in the pool was really well done.
The
it's
part
a
where
gorgeous film.
the
Gorgeous
part
film.
where Allie gets hurt in the first dive,
Yeah.
when she
That was
hits
hairy.
the bottom,
Mhm.
like you feel that in
Yeah,
that
yeah.
scene.
You heard it too. As a nice loud click in the soundtrack.
Some of the
Yeah,
shots-
the sound was really good.
The sound was
Yeah,
really
the
good.
sound is really good.
You know, because it wasn't so much the
Music's
shots
all
of
right,
them
too.
doing the synchronized dives where they finally synced up, but it was the sound, because
Right.
you could, you'd
You
hear,
hear
like,
one
splash,
splash instead of
splash.
two
Yeah.
splash.
That's
splash,
like
and then at the end it was
three-quarter-
just splash.
There's
Yeah.
three. That's like the 3/4 the way in the movie. They finally
Yeah.
in a really well shot
Mhm.
synchronized splash.
Okay,
Yeah.
let me ask something.
Gorgeous looking film. It's a gorgeous sounding film.
The actors, were they all pro divers? Were they
Looked like
doubles? How did they do it?
I think it was
Looked really
doubles.
good.
Doubles, probably.
I think it was doubles. You never see a straight through shot of one of
I
them
don't know,
coming
man.
to the
I was
edge.
by the middle of the movie. I'm looking.
Yeah.
You do see it with her on.
You can't tell. You can't tell.
You see
I
it with
could
her on
not
the
tell.
springboard. You see it with her on the springboard. So she probably learned or knew some diving beforehand, but all of the high platform stuff, there's always a cut.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably because they don't want to hurt anybody.
It
for one
was
thing.
just very smoothly done.
Also, one thing about the world of this and what's going on with these characters and the abusive coach is that visually, it's a very, I guess the term's prurient. It's like it's girls running around in bathing suits all the time, and there's always
Yeah,
like a lot of flesh on display.
But that's
There's
it's a
Let's talk
given.
about-
There's a
let's talk
feel
about
of
the
a
action, though.
hypercharged sexuality
I mean,
in that
that's
entire
part
film
of-
because there are people running around half naked, basically.
Can we
Yeah,
talk
but that's
about the action,
also
though?
that's also figure skating. That's
It's
gymnastics.
You guys
The-
all read the article about
the-
the Olympic Village, and they had like boxes
main-
of condoms.
They have
The
to
main-
because they.
but the
okay,
main
that's a
actress,
whole
dude,
other
how-
thing, though.
Yeah, it's a
But
different.
How good is the acting? The main actress, how incredible is she? Really?
She's fantastic.
Yeah,
It
she's
was,
really good.
super well cast because she's still, like, you can tell she's athletic. She's got good muscles.
She's in such good shape.
I think
Holy
all the
shit!
acting in this
She's a bit
film
older.
is
You can see that
I
she's
hated the story. She made it watchable.
closer to 30 than 20 in the face, which is interesting.
Yeah. She
Yeah.
looks like Jennifer Connelly
A little
Yeah.
bit.
Big
yeah.
a
time.
little bit.
But what about the ending? What do you guys think of that?
well, it could have gone a couple of ways, and they picked a direction, and I was like, okay. And then
Yeah, my response at the end was okay.
Where are you
Yeah.
going to go next?
Did you think did you think it was not you know, did you think it was a culmination of the entire story? Or you think it was kind of like a shrug? Because
I
I
mean,
mean, she tanked
It was
a
a fuck
gold
you to
medal
the
competition,
coach.
basically.
Right.
And then
It was a
she
fuck you.
threw an Olympic competition.
It was a
Yeah.
fuck you to the coach. It
on
was
bare
her.
feet.
It was
Yeah.
her breaking
Into the
away
pier.
from him finally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, and then also burning him by sending the diary. Like
Right.
it's just like she literally just throws the fucking flare behind her and lights the whole building.
Yeah,
on fire
pretty
on
much.
the
That's
way out.
exactly what the ending was.
But
it was going-
again, like I said, that's a choice. She could have sent the diary and then done her best and
Oh.
won the gold medal. That would have
Absolutely.
been another ending.
That
But
would've-
now he's the gold medal coaching coach.
Exactly.
Right.
So you gotta basically screw the 14-year-old out of her medal to screw the
Yes.
coach out of his medal,
Actually,
and
y'all
that
can
was the
tell it
decision.
again.
Yeah, like
I
Kat
think-
said, she had to
I'm
burn
okay
the
with it.
entire-
Bounce back.
I think she had to burn the entire place down. That
Yeah,
was what she was
plenty
doing.
of time.
Yeah, the
Well, he
14-year-old, she
didn't-
can go to the Olympics in 4 years.
Yeah,
That's
pretty
4
much.
years, apparently.
And he didn't follow through on what he said he was going to do, which was not touch her anymore.
Right.
You know, like that
Yeah.
scene in the van, she's like, I'm going to do this. You're never going to touch me again. You're never going to touch her again.
And what does he do?
He breaks that rule, so she burns him. And
Right.
like, I think it's earned. I think it's a very
Oh, no,
earned.
he deserved everything. In fact, the entire system deserved to get burned down, to be honest.
Right.
with you, because,
Yeah.
yeah, that's what they're trying to tell us at the end.
Did we even get a reaction shot from the coach when she?
No.
No.
You don't see
No.
the coach after that.
No,
You
not
get a
yet.
reaction from the 14-year-old, and then
Yeah.
she's
Very.
And then she's
this
walking out of the building.
Case of
This movie did subvert expectations a lot.
yes, this is
You're
a
there.
case of like it's
And I
it's
thought it did it well.
but it's good fucking filmmaking. This is good filmmaking.
I don't ever want to see it again.
Yeah. I thought the film veered between being a really compelling independent film about a very rarefied world, like of, you know, high diving, to being kind of weirdly kind of a telenovela a little bit. There's a kind of maybe it's a bias, but there felt like a melodrama in a lot of places. You know what I mean? There's a lot of, you know, talk.
I never feel like the drama's unearned though.
No,
Like,
okay.
It's super wrong, but it's super honest.
Yeah. All right. Well, just
Well,
just
but again,
feel
this
like-
is
Believe
a
all the
story.
all the empty cityscapes.
Yeah.
I've been to Mexico City. I've never seen Mexico City without a lot of people.
Yeah, well, that's what happens when you
It made it
shoot.
look really pretty. I want to go.
There's
I want
a
to
lot
go
of
to that
empty
Mexico. I want to go to Mexico in this movie.
Yeah.
It
This
sounds
is what
like-
happens when you shoot at the
clean
height
and-
of the pandemic.
Yeah, it's clean there.
Yeah.
The pools are clean. It looks like a nice place.
I like Mexico.
Yeah. Okay.
I like Mexico too.
Okay, well, that's
Fucking
good.
All right, well,
love it.
Jim,
I've
you're
never
over
been
there.
It doesn't look quite like this movie.
Do you have any cornering to do here, Jim, or you think you got it squared away?
No, you've all covered it pretty much. I
Alright, good
enjoyed it a lot.
I think this is I honestly this is one of those movies that I'm gonna go recommend to other people with the caveat that like it's gonna be a rough watch. Like
At least
you-
it's
this-
short, 95 minutes. It gets
Yeah.
there.
watch
So
it
I'm-
during
Good.
watch it
I'm
during the day
identifying a,
when you don't have anything important to do later.
It seemed
Like
longer than 13 Lives.
it did.
Uh,
It did actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I
Yeah.
think a lot of that is it's a lot of the like I don't want to open the door. I don't want to open the door. You know, you're watching a lot of the movie like this.
Yeah.
You know, like because I know
That
what's
makes
on the
it-
other side of that door.
Yeah, that makes it longer.
Yeah.
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 They're both
So if
secretly
we've
horror
identified
movies.
Nazi movies as Jim's thing, I guess Jared's thing is well-made movies none of us ever want to watch again. That's
Well, yeah, that is.
I don't know. Jared's got Jim's got a lot of well-made movies
You
I don't
nailed
want
it.
to watch
You
again
nailed it.
because
Let's go through the list of all the movies Jared's picked that I liked but never want to see again.
clinical films about sexual dysfunction.
I think the
Well,
nice thing to say is he makes
weirdly pervy movies.
his picks are very challenging.
I'm a perverse person who is like really mangled.
Pervy
Right.
art
Did a
films.
good double bill with the pianist
Yeah.
or the piano teacher, or whatever it was
Uh-huh.
called.
Pervy art films.
There you go.
All right, I think it's time for thumbs.
All right,
And
thanks.
Lenny Riefenstahl.
Thanks, Lenny.
It was
By
pretty
the
good.
way, Jim, if you didn't know, this director, the movie that she made right before this is about Joseph Mengele.
No, perfect. That'll be his pick.